So about a week ago, I made a video talking about the top 5 weapons in the game after the most recent updates. This is something I try to do every couple months or so to keep you guys up to date on the meta of the current Call of Duty game. Now, something I do a little bit less often is make a video on the top 5 worst weapons within a given Call of Duty game. And I try to do this pretty much for every Call of Duty game. The interesting thing is these weapons very rarely change, even with updates and them getting buffed. Generally speaking, they're still some of the worst weapons in the game. Now, the funny thing is every time I make one of these lists, people get mad at me because I put their favorite weapons on this list. I really don't think that's going to be a problem this year. I would be shocked that if any of the weapons that I put on this list were your personal favorite. But of course, you can let me know down in the comments, and I'd also love to hear what you personally believe are the worst weapons within Modern Warfare. So before the video starts, hop down in the comments and let me know personally what weapons you hate. Now, the one ground rule for this list is that it is primary weapons only. I'm not going to include any secondary weapons, no pistols, no launchers, because if I was to do that, the list would entirely be secondary weapons, and that's no fun. So we're only talking about primary weapons on this list. So I'm going to shut up because we have 5 shitty weapons to talk about. Let's jump into it. Coming in at number 5, we have the Origin 12. Now, I've heard a lot of people talk about this gun, and a lot of people say, oh, it's not a bad gun, it's just the worst shotgun. No, this is a bad gun, and there's a few reasons for it. First of all, the range on it is absolutely pitiful. Someone could be like 10 meters away from you and it still take 4 shots of a shotgun to actually kill them, which is insane compared to the other shotguns in the game that will literally kill in 1 shot from that distance, or the 725 that can get a 1-shot kill up to like 45 meters or whatever the hell it is. So comparatively to the other shotguns, yes, this shotgun sucks, but you're also going to get melted against any other gun, even at close quarters as well. The matter of fact is with this being a semi-automatic shotgun, there have been so many beastly semi-automatic shotguns in the past of Call of Duty. The big one that comes to mind is the Brecci from Black Ops 3. And whenever those are really good, they are super frustrating to play against. So I can see why they made this a weaker shotgun, but it's a little bit too weak. That being said, I don't want it to get buffed, mainly because I don't want everyone running around with an Origin 12 spamming it like the Brecci from Black Ops 3. Now, I could go down a big rabbit hole as to why this weapon sucks and the Brecci is amazing, but essentially what it comes down to very quickly is the way that the shotgun worked. In the Brecci from Black Ops 3, all you had to do was land 1 pellet and it would deal a great amount of damage. In this game, the pellet damage matters a lot more than it did in Black Ops 3, which I don't believe is a bad thing, but it's why this gun is weaker than, let's say, the Brecci for Black Ops 3. Now, the one thing that is good with this weapon is you don't really need to aim down sights ever with it. You can always fire from the hip, and it's going to almost be as accurate as if you were aiming down sights, which I guess is a bonus. It saves you a little bit of time. You don't have to aim down sights. So how do you make the Origin 12 better without making it overpowered? A tough question. But the 2 things that I think I would do to it is improve the sprint out time so it is much better than the other shotguns. All the other shotguns have much better stats in every other area, so making this sprint out time better would be fantastic. On top of that, I would improve the fire rate, but only marginally, to make it so that it has a faster time to kill, especially at those longer ranges where it could take 4 to 5 shots to actually kill someone. If you do that and don't do it over the top, I think this gun could actually be at least a little bit of fun to use. Now, coming in at number 4, this is one I did not want to put on the list because I actually enjoy using it, but it is the Crossbow. So, like I said, I enjoy using this gun. It forces me to play the game in a different way. Every time I shoot the Crossbow, I either have to get behind cover, pull out a secondary weapon, and it makes me rethink the way I navigate the maps, and I actually really enjoy using it. But let's be honest, the weapon kind of sucks. And really, the main problem with this weapon is how long it takes to shoot another shot, and it's a primary weapon. If this was a secondary weapon, it would kind of make sense. You pull it out, you kill someone, you switch to your primary weapon, get a bunch of kills, switch back when you have a chance, but that's not the case. It's a primary weapon, and it takes over 3 seconds to actually reload this. Now, to give you an idea of how ridiculous that is, the general time to kill, especially up close in this game, is about 0.2 seconds. that means you could die 15 times in the amount of time it takes to reload this weapon. Now, what makes up for this with the crossbow is it's got like the best damage out of any sniper rifle in the game. As long as you hit someone in pretty much the upper body or even the upper legs, you're going to get a one-shot kill, which is better than most of the snipers. The problem is it takes forever to reload, like I was talking about. So, like I said, it is fun to use, but it's just not a viable weapon against the other primaries in this game. How do you fix it? I don't think you really can. I don't think you can make it a top tier weapon or anything like that. But what I would do is I would reduce the reload time to maybe 2 seconds. And then if you're using sleight of hand, maybe 1.5. At least that way you could play somewhat aggressively with it, but you're still going to get beat out by M4s, MP5s, and things like that. So this gun, a fun weapon to use, just not a viable weapon to use. Up next at number 3, probably should have put this one at number 5, but here we are, is the Uzi. And if you're going to disagree with one on this list, it's probably going to be the Uzi, because this really isn't too terrible of a weapon. It's just by far the worst SMG. And I mean by far the worst SMG. Now, the thing with the Uzi is up to 15 meters, it's got a really, really good time to kill. It's under 200 milliseconds, which is really good for any weapon in this game. The problem is, if you get over that 15 meters, it has a terrible time to kill, and it basically comes down to the fire rate of this weapon only being 612 RPM, which is really, really slow compared to the other SMGs in this game. On top of that, it has the longest sprint out time out of any of the SMGs, and in my opinion, it has some of the most recoil out of any of the SMGs. If you look at the recoil on a plot, it doesn't seem that bad, but between like the first and second bullet, there's a big jump that's kind of weird to overcome. You can get used to it, but all in all, the stats on this weapon are just so much worse compared to like the MP5 and the MP7. Now, if you are using this weapon and want to do well with it, maybe you're going for the gold camo, I recommend playing a super stealthy style and running around in super close quarters, almost like you're using a shotgun, because this thing will absolutely outgun, let's say, the Origin 12 from what we talked about before, because like I said, this gun up close has a really, really good time to kill. It's just at long range, it's a piece of trash. And I'm going to be honest, it kind of sucks, because to my knowledge, when I think back over every Call of Duty game, every game that the Uzi's been in, it kind of sucks. And in addition to what we talked about, I think the biggest problem with this SMG is if you're a rushing around player, kind of like me, and you miss one bullet, because it has such a slow fire rate for an SMG, you're in a lot of trouble against any AR, any shotgun, any SMG, and that's why I do think that this is a lower tier weapon. It is probably the best weapon on this list of 5 weapons that I'm giving you today, but it's just not good enough to keep up with the other guns in Modern Warfare. Coming in at number 2, a gun that I hate with a dying passion, the Dragunov. And maybe you disagree with me, the only really redeeming factor about this weapon is it has a really fast fire rate for a sniper rifle, but a fast fire rate doesn't really matter if you're just going to get hit markers anyway. This weapon, in my eyes, has no real redeeming qualities. Let me explain myself. If you use the AX50 or the HDR, they're good because generally speaking, you're always going to get a one-shot kill. Even with the HDR at really long range, you're probably going to get a one-shot kill. That is why those are good. You look at the Kar 98, yes, you're going to get a lot more hit markers, but the reason why the Kar 98 is good is it has a fast sprint out time and a fast aim down sights time. So if you're on a small map and you're a quick scoper, that gun will do well. The Dragunov is going to give you a lot of hit markers, and it doesn't aim down sights that fast. Like I said before, the only good thing about it is it has a faster fire rate. So if there's a lot of people and you got good aim, it might help you out there, but in any other situation, you're kind of screwed. In my opinion, in this game, this is the worst sniper rifle and marksman rifle in both categories put together. The weird thing about the Dragunov is it's not quite a sniper rifle where it gets one-shot kills all the time, and it's not quite a marksman rifle where it has that faster aim down sights time. It's in a really, really weird spot, and because of that, it just doesn't work in the limbo that Call of Duty Modern Warfare is. So, in my opinion, this thing sucks. And then finally, in my opinion, by far the worst weapon in a game, without a shadow of a doubt, a big steaming pile of shit, is the SA-87. I hate this gun so much I can almost not put it into words how much I hate it. This weapon is technically an LMG, but they tried to make it like this weird assault rifle LMG hybrid, but they didn't put any good qualities of an assault rifle on it. The one good stat about the SA-87 is the damage profile is consistent. It's either going to be a 3 or a 4 bullet kill. Other than that, the fire rate is slow, there's a good amount of recoil, and worst of all, for an assault rifle LMG hybrid, it still aims down sights and sprints out at the same speed of the other LMGs in the game. Oh yeah, on top of all of that, it also only has a 30 round magazine for an LMG, which is really, really small, which means you're going to have to reload a lot. I mean, the reload speed is good for LMGs, but it's not really good for assault rifles. So it's like they took the worst of both worlds. They took a bad LMG and a bad assault rifle and put them together and was just like, good. And the worst part about this gun, if I'm being honest, the biggest problem I have with it is technically it could be alright. With always being a 3 or a 4 bullet kill, you should be absolutely shredding at mid-range. But you don't, because you aim down sights so slow with this thing at around 400 milliseconds. And literally, when you're trying to aim down sights with this thing, it feels like your character is trying to pick up a car at how hard he struggles to aim down sights. That, in my opinion, is the biggest problem with this weapon. If you gave this thing a good aim down sights time, it might actually be usable with the right attachments. But because of all of these bad stats on this weapon, I just can't stand using this thing. Literally trying to get gameplay for you guys with this gun was so overly frustrating and just not fun whatsoever. I truly believe that the SA-87 is the worst gun in the game. But ladies and gentlemen, that is my list of the 5 worst weapons within Modern Warfare. These are the weapons that you're going to want to stay away from if you're going to want to do at all well within the game. That being said though, if you do want to reverse boost a little bit, put yourself in some worse lobbies because of the skill-based matchmaking that everyone loves in this game, then you might want to give these weapons a shot. But if you disagree with me, feel free to let me know what you think the worst weapons within Modern Warfare are. This is my list, this is my opinion, and I'm curious to hear what you guys have to say. Also, as always, if you did enjoy the video, it is always appreciated if you hit that like button. And if you're new to the channel, like what you see, and want to stay up to date on all my videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn notifications on. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, peace out.
Listen.